Dobrý den. It is my pleasure and honor to be here today, and thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you to the organizers, and thank you to the brilliant panelists I've heard today. As they said about me, my career started as a journalist. I was one of the most prominent independent journalists in Bosnia and Herzegovina. I was mainly focused on politics and corruption of nationalist leaders and so on. But that's not the topic I wanted to share with you today. I want to share with you one different story of my life that I find more important for this day to tell you about. So it was the year 2017, and that was the year that changed my life completely. The year in which this decision was supposed to be made, whether I should stay married or decide to divorce. In order to give myself that answer, but you know, when you start to ask yourself some question, you already know the answer deep down inside. But in order to give myself that answer, I went to the vacation in Turkey with my best friend and my, at that time, 2.5-year-old daughter. During that vacation, one night, I put my daughter to sleep. I sang her lullaby, and she was pressing my breast, and I put her to sleep to her crib. And later, I find out on my shirt that I have small sign of blood. I was so shocked, and I first looked to my shirt, and I thought that I have some wound or something, but that was not it. I didn't know where that blood was coming from. But I forgot about it. The other night, again, I put my daughter to sleep. We had the ritual that I'm singing her one song, and then she falls asleep. I put her to the crib. And I repeated the same ritual. I put her to the sleep. And then again, on the other shirt, the same sign of the blood. At that moment, I, of course, went to Google, as we all do. And Google said, what else then? You are dying and you have breast cancer. That was the first time I heard that some blood from the nipple can be the symptom of breast cancer. You always heard that someone has some something that he some how do you say, we say kržica, I don't know, you will understand. But that was the first time I heard that blood from the nipple was a sign of breast cancer. So I wrote my doctor. He was in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and he told me, he asked me when I will be back from my vacation. I said in 2 days, and he said, when you are back, we will do some examination and see what is going on. I completely forgot why I was in Turkey and that I'm supposed to give myself that answer about my divorce. And when I landed in Bosnia and Herzegovina, I knew it. I knew it before I left to the Turkey, and I knew it when I landed. So when I came home, I spoke with my partner first. I spoke with my family. And I must say that as I come from the country, which is still a rather patriarchal country, the question of my mother was something that completely blocked me, because my sentence to them was that I'm not happy, I don't feel happy in my marriage. And my mother asked me, do you think that other people are happy? And that was something that quite good describes area where I was born. But my mother and father, they were not of those kind of people. And I learned from them, and they gave me this ideal of love I wanted to follow my entire life. And it was terrible for me at that moment that she asked me that question, because I said, I want that kind of story that you both have. So when I talked to them and when I explained things to them, I said to my father, so you will go tomorrow with me at our lawyers. And we had an appointment at lawyer at 10 a.m. and I had an appointment at my doctor at noon, and my father didn't know anything about it. And he was with me there at 10 a.m. at lawyers. And that moment when we went out from the lawyer's office was probably, I had the 2 happiest hours of my life, because I finally decided to fight for myself, to tell everyone around me that I'm not happy. Before that, I was those kind of women that she does everything for everyone else and put herself in the last place, and that's like many of you do in your life. Then we went out from the lawyers, and that kind of freedom that I felt, and the courage that I went openly in front of my husband, in front of my family, and to say that I'm not happy and I will go through this divorce. And then we are entering the room of my doctor, and my father is in the waiting room. He doesn't know anything about it. I told him that it's just a regular checkup. And my doctor on that first ultrasound confirmed that is a breast cancer, one of the most aggressive ones. And I'm like, my life was complete happiness. I saw myself free with daughter, maybe some new guy, traveling and so on. And then again, in 2 hours, my life was completely falling apart. And I asked myself, where do I find the strength to go out to tell my father about it? Because my father is my role model and my hero my entire life. And that look on his face when I told him about it was something I will never forget. That is the look of father who sees his daughter dead. Because in the place where I live, the breast cancer and all other cancers are still equated with the death. And patients are somehow pushed to the margins of society and so on. But my father is some kind of ironic, he has black humor and everything, and I kind of inherited that from him. And also, I'm from part of Bosnia and Herzegovina, southern part of Bosnia and Herzegovina, where is it's a stony part, and that's the resilience and strength I have that from that part of the country. And I decided I will fight. My mother, again, when she was faced with my diagnosis, was, "Are you going to divorce now when you are dying, when you have breast cancer? You are going to go alone without no security," and security officially means financial security, but by my husband. It doesn't matter that I'm working from my 18 years old. No. The financial security is made by my husband. So at that moment, I don't know if for my mother and my community around my home and my bigger family was bigger problem that I'm getting divorced or that I'm having breast cancer. So I decided that my father will go with me on my first surgery, and that was the best decision. I said to my mother, when you will be okay, please cry all your tears, call all your gods, and then when you will be okay, please come to me and daddy and give us support. So that was the thing. Of course, I packed all my books, I packed all my photos, I took my daughter, and we went from the home we called home at that moment. And I started my health journey, my journey for myself, and in 1 year I had 4 surgeries, 25 radiation fractions, and just a moment. My life is so interesting, so I had bullets just don't forget something, because you cannot believe it. I also wrote a book which premiered the day before my toughest surgery, on which I almost died, because it was a mistake of the doctors, and they broke me some pectoral lung, blah blah blah. It doesn't matter, but I'm still here, as you see it. And I survived, and that book became the best-selling book in the Balkans. And that's what saved me at that moment, because I traveled all that year, 2018, I traveled entire Western Balkans with my book, and I had, during that period, my 4 surgeries and my radiation fractions. It looks like this. For example, at my fourth surgery, I didn't know when the surgery will be, and my doctors called me and said, please, you need to come to the hospital in 2-3 days. And I was checking my calendar, and I saw that I have a book promotion the night before the operation. And I went to the hospital that morning, and they prepared me everything. They gave me the room, and then I said to my doctor, well, I have book promotion tonight. And she was like, you are impossible, Martina. That's not going to happen. And I said, please, I need to go to see those people, because it was the association of all cancer survivors in the city called Metković. It's south in Croatia, on the border with Bosnia and Herzegovina, and they are waiting for me and so on. So I will never forget that moment, because the nurse was putting my dress on and giving me a haircut, and my husband came to pick me up, and it was terrible night, because the rain was there and the storm and everything, and he was like, you are a lunatic, no one will be there. And we came to that city of Metković, and it was completely empty, it was dark, it was rainy, and he looked at me like, this is impossible, you are the only one. That's my now my husband, and that's the other story, but I won't bother you with that. So I managed to find the other guy in 1 year, so that's the love story, and that's for some other conference. So, but it's also a beautiful story. And the moment it was in the city hall of Metković, the promotion, and we parked there, and there was no one around. And at that moment, just like here, the door were opened, and there was a red carpet, and in that city hall, there was like entire city of Metković, from the youngest to the oldest, and they were all there, and they made a huge applause, and I was coming through that red carpet, and I said, that's the reason why I live. That's the reason why I fight. And they gave me all that strength. And I came back to the hospital at, I think it was 11 p.m. And we rang on hospital, please, we came back. I have the surgery tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. So I got my room again. And then I went through that surgery like on some waves, because I've never felt such a support and love which I felt during my journey with the cancer and my story. Why am I telling you this? Also, after radiation, my radiation is in September in 2018, my oncologist advised me that I had to undergo so-called chemical castration, stopping my period, because my cancer was highly estrogen dependent. So I received injections that stopped my period completely. So I was without period about 4 months, and it was great, you know. And it was December 2018. I went to New York with my partner. It was Christmas time, magical New York. What else can you expect? It was absolutely beautiful. And then at the streets of New York, in one moment, I felt like I got my period. And we went very quickly to the hotel room. And yeah, I was getting my period. And I immediately called my oncologist, and he says, you cannot be such bad luck. We say baksus, so it's a better word. You will, if you sometime be in Bosnia, baksus is the best word that can describe my condition at that point. Edina, I see you. So I called my oncologist, and he said, oh my God, please let me know when you are back from New York. We need to undergo ovariectomy. So it will be my 4th surgery in a row. And after I hang up, for 5 minutes after that, I got another call, and the man was saying, I'm calling from the office of the presidency of Bosnia and Herzegovina. I will put you through with the president. And I was like, okay. And then I heard the voice of our president, really. I know how his voice sounds. And he told me that they want to nominate me as an ambassador of Bosnia and Herzegovina to the Czech Republic. And my sentence at that moment was, and it's written in my second book, also bestseller, thank God, I said, who the hell is directing this life of mine? So it's like... And when I got back to Bosnia and Herzegovina, magazine called Gracia nominated me for the Person of the Year at that year, 2018. And they told me that I would need to come to photo shooting, and we had a big interview regarding this. It's like at the end of the year when all the successes of the year are summarized and so on, blah, blah, blah. And I came to the studio, and there were so beautiful dresses hanging around, and they told me to choose. All the dresses were from beautiful Bosnian fashion designers, and I watched them, and I saw myself at the moment. I was thin, pale. I went through this unbelievable battle, and I said to them, can we do the photo without my shirt off, with my scar from radical mastectomy? And they were in shock, and I was in shock. I didn't know where that came from. It was just in a second. And the photographer was, okay, we'll do it, just that I don't think through again. So we made that photo, and I brought it here. And that cover of the magazine, I will show it to you now. It was a huge thing in Balkans, because it was the first time someone posed with the radical mastectomy scar in our country. And I think it was the most important thing I should do at that moment, because my journey through hospitals was like that. I saw that there are so many women younger than 40 years that are suffering from breast cancer, and I wanted to shout to them, to tell them, to just to warn them, because I was 35 when I got my breast cancer. And at that cover of this magazine, I wrote, and I will quote myself. This cover, because we are bombarded with flawless perfections at every step, because we live in photoshopped lives, because our children grow up in twisted value system where the ass and tits of starlets are the only thing that matters. We live with lives full of Instagram filters. Children grow up with completely shattered self-confidence, unable to accept themselves as they are in this cruel world. And in such world, I wanted to show, here, I'm 35 years old and I have lost my breast. Out of the blue, perfectly healthy, without notice. I was diagnosed with cancer and lost my breast. And what am I now in that world? I wanted to scream and to shout to you, to shout that tomorrow it can be you. Will you be able to handle it? Will you know how to go on as a woman without what makes you a woman? No hair, no breasts, no period, because it can all happen at once. And that's why I did this cover. And for the New Year's magazine issue, when the biggest successes of the year are summarized, I survived, and that is my greatest success. Unknown heroes are battling their toughest battle every day, without masks and filters, standing tall. That's why these photos, and that's why this cover. Open to the core of your bottom. Go to the doctor, go to the checkups. This cover was also made for our hypocrisies, taboos, the fact that we still call cancer the worst illness, afraid to even mention the word cancer. that we immediately look for a burial place for the sick and cross them in our heads, push them into the margins, for the ignorance and lack of education of our people when it comes to any diseases, for breaking stigmas and taboos. I wanted to shout out to the girls and women, invest in yourself, read books, travel, learn foreign languages, spread your wings and never keep your sadness inside. Speak loudly, openly and strongly. Support each other and do what you love. Decide what is the right decision for you, because you never know when your last day will be. No, that's not a cliche from self-help books. It is the truth. I learned it the hard way, and today I am passing it on to you here. Thank you. Thank you. These are my minutes. Okay. I have time for that love story. It will be bad if I don't tell you, because it's really interesting. When I went to my first surgery, I posted that I'm having my breast cancer, and I posted on my Facebook. And at that moment I received, 5,000 messages of support. It was unbelievable. People offered me their homes on the mountains, their friends, doctors around the world. I never experienced such amount of love and support, and that's how our people are. When you go there, you will feel their soul, you will feel their hospitality, and they really helped me through this. At that moment, when I went to my first surgery, I think I read all those messages, and one message was completely interesting for me, and I screenshotted it. I don't know why I did it, but after that I find out why. Because I had a history with that person, and I saw that there were 3 messages up, and I read that messages, and I remembered that 2015, one lady called me, one lady wrote me and said, please, we have a colleague in our company, he worked for Coca-Cola in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and he's having his birthday tomorrow, but something very sad happened on his birthday, and we just want to make him happy, and he adores you, he loves your writing. Could you please write him a few words for his birthday? And I was like, that's not happening, because 2025, like, I will write someone happy birthday and he will be happy. What am I, Madonna or something? Okay. So I wrote him, obviously, 1 or 2 sentences, and I said to him and sent to him, and he answered, and that was completely it. And then 2017, he wrote me that message when I went to the hospital. And I was in hospital, and then all of a sudden, I had my first book with me. It's from 2013. And on that book, I decided I will have the names of the people who are reading my stories and my books, and to have them on the cover of the book, because I didn't want my friends, writers, to write something just from curiosity. I wanted to be there to be just the messages from my readers. And one of them was him, my now husband. So 2013, he ended on my book. I was then happily married. I didn't know who he is. 2015, he would be happy if I congratulate him birthday. I obviously did. And 2017, he sent me this message of support when I was going to the hospital. And after that message, it was like 1.5 months, and I sent the answer, thank you, just that. And that was kind of a beginning of our story, and he called me to go to grab some coffee, and at the moment he called me 3 times. We were 3 evenings in a row together. At that evening I said, sorry, but it's very important. Sorry, I think it can be very important. And at the moment I said to him, well, he looked really gorgeous, and I at that point, I lost just my breast, and I said, well, you can be whatever you want, please, we will be friends, thank you for everything, blah, blah, blah. At that moment, we were sitting in his car, he's taking off his shirt, and I was like, what is he doing? That was not just that kind of moment, but at that moment he wanted to show me something. As a child of 5 years old, he suffered the toughest burns of 3rd degree. He almost died. The Yugoslav army took him with the helicopter to Belgrade, and he had 22 surgeries. All of his body from here up to his knee was burned, and he was in complete scars. And he told me that sentence, I give you my scars and you give me your scars. And that was, I fell.
That's amazing love story. Thank you.